When designing your RP character, like with any character you're creating, it is best to start with their personality. You need to know them, understand them, in order to create what they look like. Because what they look like is highly influenced by the kind of person they are and the kind of world they've grown up in. Now, this is really easy if you have role-played your character already, whether it's, from a D&D campaign or pen and paper with your friends, whatever it is, whatever this RP character is. If you've already worked with them, you probably have an idea of what their personality is like, and it is very easy to draw from their personality from there. But if you are currently designing a character and you haven't, acted as them or written them yet, it can be very difficult because you have to make all these decisions about what your character's going to be like. In that case, go check out Bones' videos. He's the other guy on this channel. Bones will put up a card here somewhere about character creation. I would highly recommend that. And once you have your character all thought out and ready to draw, get back here. So what you want to do, you have your character's personality, you have their experiences, you have the world they live in. What you want to do is you want to take their personality and start to figure out shapes and motifs based off of their personality. That way, how they look will be an extension of the person they are. Now, this can be done in a whole bunch of different ways. An important one I always go to first is shape language. Different shapes tend to indicate different personality types in characters. For example, if you have a square character, and I don't mean literally a square, I mean a lot of their shapes are very based off squares. That indicates that they are a very sturdy person. If they're made of circles, it indicates they're a very soft person. It's used a lot in very maternal characters or very sweet characters or very childish characters. Triangles tend to do with villains or cunning or mystery. And there's lots of other stuff you can look into. So look into shape language to inform your character's personality, I guess. You can also choose, symbols that represent your character. You may have a flower or an animal or something like that, that is very symbolic of their personality. It could also be a symbol from their culture or of their household or something, and you can base a lot of their clothing, even their shape or their hairstyle off of that symbol, whatever it is, animal, plant, object, whatever. It's all up to you. And I always start with very general shapes and slowly add detail on. And I also do a lot of iteration very early on into creating a character, where I will do 100 different little sketches of what they could possibly look like, and as I find things that feel right, where it's yes, this is how I picture them, or oh, this really feels like their personality, that is what I start working towards. And from there, once you have the base of your character down, whether that's just a sketch of their body or a general sketch of them in their main outfit or something, you can start to decorate. Now, if I was talking about characters for a story or for a comic, I would definitely give you a lot more advice on how to refine your character, but because it's for an RP, which is just for fun, just for having a laugh with your friends, it doesn't really matter if they are a super cohesive looking character, because they're just for you and your heart. And if you want to decorate your character to look like crazy anime guy who's covered in spikes and belts and crazy patterns and stuff, do it. It can be an eyesore. It can be super simple, where it's just someone in a paper bag. That's totally fine. It doesn't matter. It's your RP character. It's just for fun. And I think this is one of with RP characters, I definitely get to decorate them a ton, which I love. It's very freeing to not have to worry about cohesiveness within a story. It's they look like this because I think it's cute. I mean, there is some element of that in my published work, but in RPs, I just get to have fun. Who cares? Now, decoration, again, can be pulled from their personality. It can pull from their interests. If you really want to make a character that is really intricate and fleshed out and feels like a character from a published work. By published work, I mean just not an RP. Just something that's going to be put out for other people to consume rather than having fun with your friends. So if you want to have it feel that way, which is totally legit, that's cool. Pull elements from their personality. So if there's someone who's very lazy, the way they dress or the way they style their hair might be very messy because they don't keep it together because they're too lazy to. Whereas if there's someone who's very neat, it'll be very pristine and precise. You might have a character who has really long hair because it keeps her warm in the winter and she likes hiding in it and stuff. There's tons of things you can pull from their personality that will inform how they look. Their interests will also inform this. So if they are, say, a warrior, they're gonna dress, like a warrior. They're gonna carry weapons. They're gonna wear an outfit that is ready for battle. They might wear things that seem very severe and tough. Whereas someone who works as a nurse will probably be in their scrubs and then maybe comfy stuff when they're not at work. Yeah, definitely flesh out how they are as a person, what they like to do, their occupation, all that good stuff that comes with character building, and really let it inform your design. And if you really, really, really want to polish up your character and learn more about character design, I do have a vlog series all about it. Again, there will be a card here somewhere leading to episode 1, where I talk at length about designing characters. And when you're making a character, it's always great to reiterate their design a lot until you have something that feels right. You don't have to get it right the first time. Okay, I've talked about this a lot. And I'll be real, a lot of the drawings of my RP characters throughout Inktober, they are my first try at the design, and I'm not happy with a lot of them. I really like how my inks are coming out, and that's the point of Inktober. But if I was to take a lot of these characters, I would really push their designs. But then again, they're RP characters. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfect pancakes. So these two are Caddy and Edgar. I think that's his name. They are from an RP that was mentioned before called What If Your Boyfriend Was a Dog? It's a weird RP full of wizards and ghosts. Bones has done a talk on one of the characters named Charles, and he has also done one on a character named Amos. So go watch those for more context. But in this RP, to lay down the basics, there are wizards that are all powerful. It's in a world that's very similar to ours. It's modern times, etc. But there are these all-powerful wizards who can basically do anything. There's a limited amount of them, and the only way to stop a wizard from, destroying the world is by taking preventative measures against them. So in order to stop a wizard from, say, turning off the sun, you being another wizard would have to put a ward around the sun to keep it from being shut off. It's a lot of thinking ahead and playing long games to fight each other. Wizards are also very territorial. They usually have their own little territory. They will fight off other wizards or ward them away. And some wizards are very nice. Some of them are very mean. These two are very nice wizards. So Caddy, she, I should also mention, wizards are created through these things called labyrinths. So basically, there are these objects that are associated with labyrinths. When a wizard dies, they become a ghost. The ghost is usually, encasing their, object. They're, sources of magic, I guess. And so, if the object is removed from the ghost, a labyrinth appears. And anyone who is in that area just gets stuck in it. And the only way to get out is to find the object. It's usually at the center of the labyrinth or whatever the challenge of the labyrinth is. It varies depending on the object. Once you find that object, you then become a wizard. The labyrinth disappears, and then you're an all-powerful wizard until you die and then become a ghost, and the cycle continues. So she was put into a labyrinth. I wonder if I'm misremembering, but I think she was put in it by a big evil villain wizard named Chaos, who was trying to close labyrinths by sticking people in it, hoping that someone will, close them. Because people will also wander into labyrinths and just get stuck in them, so, they're a big disaster to have around. It's better to have wizards. So she is putting people into these labyrinths, including Caddy. And you'd think, Chaos is, a good person for doing this. She's awful. She is doing it to close labyrinths, but she's also, a mean, awful person who just likes destroying people's lives. So anyways, Caddy. She gets put into a labyrinth that is based off cats. A lot of labyrinths, their objects are kind of associated with spirits, and the objects are kind of symbolic of these spirits. So the labyrinth Caddy goes into is all about cats. The challenge that she faces when she's in it is her and everyone else who's been pulled into this labyrinth. They are all cats, and they must journey to find the cat mother. And so it's like this long trek where like they go through like natural obstacles like streams and rivers, and they have to swim across, and you know there's predators and all this crazy stuff, and they have to journey all across the land until they find the great cat mother, which is the object. And Caddy was just lucky enough to survive everything and make it to the cat mother and take the object. So she closed the labyrinth, she appeared as a new wizard, and her object, so before they're ghosts, they get to kind of hang on to their object. If someone takes it, they can't really do anything to you, but like, if you die, you then your ghost goes to your object, so I guess they can kind of capture you once you're a ghost. But they can't do much once you're a wizard, especially if you ward your object. Caddy, sorry. Can't remember how to pronounce her name. Caddy, her object is this little cat pen. And so for the longest time, Chaos took her pen, because Chaos was like ready for when the labyrinth closed. So she just came over, she took her pen, she's like, okay, go off and be a wizard. If you die, then I get your pen and I can reopen the labyrinth again. And Caddy's like, okay. And she leaves because she's very scared and traumatized from her time in the labyrinth. Chaos also is really awful to her because she turns Caddy's family into cats. And because wizards can't really undo each other's magic, Caddy can't do anything about it. Her family is stuck as cats until Chaos deigns to like free them. So she just collects her family. It's like her mom and dad and her brother. And she hides herself away into a house because she doesn't want to deal with wizard stuff. It's all really scary. She's scared of Chaos. She doesn't want to cause any trouble. She just wants to take care of her family. So she takes her and her cat fam, and she lives in a little house, and she starts collecting stray cats. And she's basically like a crazy cat lady, except she has the means to take care of all these cats because she has like infinite magic. And she's very shy, very sweet. She just wants to help people, but she's scared of being a wizard too. It's all very overwhelming. Caddy is also like older than she appears. She like keeps the appearance of like, you know, like a girl in her 20s-ish. But she is actually probably like 40, 50 years old. Because when you're a wizard, you don't have to age because of your magic. So she was put in a labyrinth like back in the 80s. And then she came out, like, I think it just took her like a couple months to get out. Some labyrinths take like years to come out. So she got out pretty quick. And since then, she has just been a little immortal, hanging out with her cat fam, being a cutie. I guess I'll get into Edgar's story. So he was not tormented by Chaos initially. So he is actually from like the Dark Ages, or the medieval times, I guess. I can't remember the distinction between those two, or if there is one. But he is from olden days. He was a knight, and so there was a labyrinth that had opened, and you know, all the daring knights wanted to go in and defeat the labyrinth and come out all powerful. And so he decided it was his noble duty to go into the labyrinth and close it. So he does, and his challenge, he had to fight a massive wolf that roamed, like, his labyrinth was actually like a literal labyrinth, like it was a maze, and it was this giant wolf that could eat you with one bite. And so, you know, he gets in there, and all the other knights that have gone in have been slaughtered. New people keep coming in and getting hunted down by this giant wolf thing. And somehow he manages to survive. He kills the wolf, he slays it, and he emerges as a wizard, very traumatized. So his object that he receives for closing the labyrinth is a wolf's sword. It's a sword with like a wolf on the hilt. And so he continues his life as a knight for a little bit, but he's like dealing with trauma. He also doesn't like people very much. So eventually over the centuries, he starts collecting books. He decides to become a scholar. He keeps the appearance of like an older gentleman. And eventually he holes himself away in like a tiny little town, like somewhere in like Germany or something. Like far away from all people, in like a little cottage that is like heavily warded against other wizards. And he's very grumpy. He doesn't want to like talk to other people. He just wants to keep his little wizard territory, not step on any toes, and collect rare books. Because that is his jam. He's an old grump, but like a sweet old grump. You know, he'll like help you if you really need it. Edgar also ran into Chaos eventually, and she did take his sword at one point. And he decided not to bother her, to just hide. That's like the safest thing to do. if they can't kill him, then he can't show up where his object is anyways. But eventually, through the main plot of the RP, because these two characters, they are not part of the main plot. They're like side characters that I love. So through the events of the main plot, Chaos is knocked down a peg. All the objects she's collected of other wizards are then available for people to show up and take, because all her wards have been taken down. So Edgar and Caddy finally get their objects back, and the main characters of this RP go and find them to rally their help of finally defeating Chaos and all the evil bad wizards that are hanging out. So Edgar, they find him first, I think. They convince him to help because they need a wizard who has a lot of experience, who can help with Chaos. He reluctantly agrees. Help the main guys with all their wizarding problems. He answers questions because he's got a lot of experience. He does a lot of research on wizards and stuff, so he's there to be very sagely and answer questions. And he eventually becomes friends with them and starts hanging out with some of the main characters and actually making friends again after all these years. He actually makes friends with Amos from Bones' Other Talk, because they're sad old men and they just talk about books and stuff. Fantasy books, because they're nerds and they're really cute. And meanwhile, Caddy, she keeps hiding when she has her object. She's very scared of people. But what happens is eventually a cat shows up, and because she loves taking in strays, she's like, I will take him in. And then he starts acting weird. He keeps trying to let her family escape, and he starts trying to communicate with her and stuff, but he can't talk. And eventually he reveals that he is someone who is cursed by Chaos to be stuck as a cat. And she's like, this has to be a trick. She's like, there's no way he would know who I am if he was just some schmo. So, he must be a wizard who's trying to trick me. It's either Chaos or some other wizard that wants to, get rid of me or something. So she's very suspicious. But eventually, she decides to trust him. She's like, okay, I will help you. And it turns out he betrays her. He was actually a wizard. He was cursed by Chaos to become a cat, but he wasn't a good guy to begin with. I don't remember what his name is, but he's an evil wizard. And he tries to steal her object, her cat pen, for some nefarious reason. Can't really remember. It's been a while. He was Bones' character. So he stole her pen and ran off with it. And she was very upset. So she goes to the main characters for help. And in exchange for helping her, she helps them out with doing little magic bits for them. So yeah, that's Edgar and Caddy. They are cute. I like them a lot. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more Inktober videos, we have a whole lot of them. Go check those out. I can't believe it's almost the end of October. Where has it gone? Oh my gosh. If you want to follow me and Bones on social stuff, go check it out in the description. We have Instagram and Twitter and DeviantArt and Fur Affinity, and there's a lot. So go follow us there, because we post all our Inktober stuff and talk about silly things like our pets and how silly they are. I don't know. Cats and dogs, right? Boot boot. They're cute. Okay. Goodbye.